Okay, so welcome everyone, welcome to the MoreMind program's Reconnect and Recharge class with me, Callista. Hope you're all doing well, I hope you've had a lovely week. And if you've not had such a wonderful week, hopefully you'll have this hour to just have for yourself, to feed back into yourself and hopefully feel a little bit more recharged, a little bit more relaxed and ready to take on the week to come. So without further ado, if you haven't already seen my message on the chat on YouTube, I would suggest picking up a couple of pillows or some cushions, maybe a blanket, a bolster if you have one and you've got one prepared, and possibly any bricks or any books that you may have to hand. They're not essential, but just to make yourself nice and comfy for during the practice and when we come to Shavasana. So, just whilst you're getting yourself ready or you're just settling yourself in, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're going to do today. So if you were watching last week, then you might have heard me mention something about the vagus nerve. Now, this is one of the longest nerves in the body. So, it's said that we have 12 nerves starting in the cranium, so 12 cranial nerves. And I think the vagus nerve is the 10th. And it comes from the verb vagare, which means to wander. So it's this big, long, wandering nerve which starts in the brain, wanders through the face, down the neck, and serves a lot of the organs and wraps around here in the belly. So, why is this important? Well, first of all, it's one of the longest nerves and creates this brain-body connection. Second of all, it serves the parasympathetic nervous system, which is super important for those feelings of fuzzy, warmth, calm, and rest and digest, which is essentially what the parasympathetic nervous system is associated with, those functions of being able to rest and the function of digestion. So last week I talked about, I think I might have mentioned something called polyvagal theory. This might sound all very complicated, and it is, but I'll just break it down very simply, very easily. We don't have to go into this whole long thing, but just the basics. So there's a doctor called Dr. Stephen Porges who has theorized that there are two branches of the vagus nerve. One of them is the ventral vagus and the other one is the dorsal vagus. It doesn't really matter what they're called, but just for those who are interested, those are the two branches, or so-called branches. Now, if you've ever been in a stress state, you'll have had that fight or flight response and you're ready to take action, either ready to take action to fight what's ever in front of you or to flee. Now, there's a lesser known but just as important response, and this is the freeze response. The sympathetic nervous system, which is in charge of the fight-flight response, that's the fight-flight response. Now it's the parasympathetic nervous system, and essentially the dorsal vagal branch of the vagus nerve, which is responsible for this freeze response. So if you've ever been in a situation where you've completely frozen up, you don't know what to do, whether it's been in a test or whether you've had a car crash or just any situation where you've been frozen to the spot, you're speechless, your face has gone blank, maybe your hands have gone very wet and clammy, and you've lost all ability to move and to think. This is the freeze response. So, I know when it comes to yoga we talk a lot about change, and change is really important, and I think I may have mentioned in previous classes that the first step to any kind of change is awareness. Now, I'd like to take it back even further than that. The first step is actually safety. So in order for us to be aware and for us to start that process of change, we need to be in a place where we feel safe. So if you've ever been in a place where you've had to fight or flee, or you've frozen, let's celebrate those responses. So sometimes we have responses and patterns that we get into that maybe no longer serve us, but at the time when they first appeared, they were helpful. So let's celebrate the responses that our bodies have. Even if the profound physiological and behavioural states that we experienced currently limits an ability to function in a social, safe state. So when it comes to yoga, oftentimes, I don't know about you, but I know that I've been to classes where I've been told that your body's not doing what it should do. Your foot should be placed here, your other foot should be placed there. And we're being told that our bodies are not responding in the way that they should do. And they're not behaving adequately. And they need to change. But that in itself is a highly evaluative state of being. And when we feel that we're being evaluated, that's not coming from a state of safety. That comes from a state of defense. And that defense can either put us into the fight-flight response, or it can take us back into that freeze response. I don't know what to do. I've lost the ability to think, I've lost the ability to move. So today we're going to celebrate those responses because they're useful. That's why we develop these responses. They're not always useful at the time, but those responses, as they've evolved for the human body, are useful to us. So let's celebrate that. And there's essentially not such a thing as a bad response, but simply an adaptive response. So today we're going to look at practices that are going to increase our vagal tone and going to set us into the ventral vagal state rather than the dorsal vagal state. So let's just take a few moments to get comfortable. Maybe you're sitting on a cushion. And let's get comfy here. We're just going to start with a couple of minutes of breathing, but engaging the muscles of the face. So, signs that we're likely closer towards the dorsal vagal state are flat expressions, lack of body awareness, or interest in communicating. So everything kind of shuts down. So let's start to engage the muscles of the face, which Dr. Stephen Porges likes to call our social engagement. So taking a very gentle upturning of the lips. So a kind of half smile. The vagus nerve serves the muscles of the face and also the ears as well. It's a very gentle half smile. Placing one hand on the chest, the other hand on the belly. And very slow, connected breaths. With a hand that's on the belly, just very gentle pressure of that hand into the belly. So you've got a bit of physical feedback. as you sit here breathing, an invitation here from me to you to notice your heart rate as you breathe. So something else that I think I mentioned very briefly last week is heart rate variability. And when we increase the vagal tone, when we increase the tone of the vagus nerve, this actually has an effect on heart rate variability. We can measure the vagal tone by the heart rate variability. So the changes in heart rate that occur with the breath, essentially. What does this mean? So a healthy vagal tone involves a slight increase of the heart rate as you breathe in, and a decrease in the heart rate as you breathe out. So just notice what's happening. And if you don't notice any difference, know that that's okay. So with this slow diaphragmatic breathing, so we breathe down into the bottom of the lungs, this is the start of creating safety in the breath and in the body. Remembering that although, yes, that the first step to any kind of meaningful change is awareness, but even before that we need the element of safety to uphold that awareness. We can be very, very aware in stress states and not be able to do anything about it. So we're starting to come into a place of safety. Safety in the breath, safety in the body. Upholding any changes that may occur. Let's take another breath here, keeping that gentle half smile. And releasing the hands down. Good, so we're going to concentrate mainly on spinal movements and opening up the front of the body here today in order to get that vagal nerve kind of massaging effect, to get all of that moving. But before that, take a big stretch of the arms overhead, take a big yawn. Arms come around in a sec. Oh, good. We'll take two more like this. Inhale, the arms go up. Big yawn. Imagine you take a big cat stretch. One more. Good. Placing the hands onto the knees. And starting, not quite sure what that means, but starting to take some little rolls through the spine. So we've done this in previous classes. Don't worry if this is the first time you're watching. This practice is called the Sufi grind. And imagine you're stirring a teacup from the centre of the body. So depending on what you've been doing this week, you might be feeling a bit stiff. I know that I'm feeling a bit stiff in my spine today. I was chucking around a sandbag yesterday all day in the park. Lots of fun, but it's hard work. So just imagine that you're juicing up the spine, getting some movement into the vertebra and all the intervertebral discs. So those kind of padding discs in between the bones of the spine. Giving them a little bit of a squeeze. Good, we'll take another couple in this direction. Maybe you want to get your shoulders involved and your neck and your head as well. And then a reverse in the other direction. Keeping that slight upturn of the lips, engaging that social system. Another couple of breaths here. And making your way back through centre. Good. So let's take the arms out to the sides and then bend the elbows as you exhale. So you're kind of cactusing the arms. Good. From there, on the inhale, lift through the heart centre, lift the chin and take the hands back just as much as is available for you without moving into any pain. And then as you exhale, turn the arms the other way, around through the spine, chin comes towards the chest. So we lift up on the inhale, opening through the front of the body. As you exhale, round through the spine, closing the front of the body, rounding in on itself. Good, we'll take another 3 or 4 like this, moving in your own time, with your own breath tempo or breath speed. As we round forward, we're bowing down to the god of vagus nerve. As we lift up, opening out, stretching it out. Good. The next time the spine lengthens, reach the arms over the head, interlace the fingers, and then take the palms up towards the ceiling. Good, so give the armpits a little bit of a stretch. So you're taking the armpits forward, and it's almost like you're yawning through the front of the body. That also, just talking about it makes me want to yawn. Have a few yawns if you need to. Another couple of breaths here. Making sure you're not taking it to too much of an intense stretch. And exhale, release the bind, take the arms out to T. Good. From there, right hand comes behind, left hand to the right knee. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, very gentle twist towards the right. Keeping the breath drawing down into the bottom of the lungs. keeping that slight upturn of the lips. So it's interesting that we actually use more facial muscles to frown than we do to smile. Interesting. It takes less energy. We'll take one more breath here. On the next inhale, bring it back through to centre. Arms to T. Exhale, excuse me, left hand goes behind, right hand onto the left knee or the thigh. Again, lift up through the crown of the head, lengthening and twisting on the exhale. Another couple of breaths here. Inhale, we unwind. Exhale, make your way to a tabletop position. Good. So planting down through the hands. Spreading the fingers out, so you're fanning the fingers out and pressing down through the upper inner corner, so just at the base of the index finger, the one that I'm waggling right now. Good. Tucking the toes. I'm going to take an undulating cat-cow. So as you inhale, spread across the collarbones, shift the body forward, little back bend, and then as you exhale, press it back round through the spine. So you're kind of taking a cat child's pose, kind of a hybrid. Inhale to shift forward, opening through the front body. Exhale to shift back, rounding through the spine. Gripping the mat with the fingertips. You've got that good sense of grounding through the hands. As you take it back, maybe you feel a little bit of a stretch through the soles of the feet. Only press back as far as feels nourishing for you. So it might not be all the way, it might be here. You are in control of the movement. Remember, there's no comparison between the range of motion of your body and the range of motion of my body. We have two different bodies, two different patterns of movement, social patterns, behavioural patterns, patterns of the nervous system. All of these contribute to what the body does and where it is. Take another one. Good. From there, inhale, shifting forward. Exhale to bring it down onto the forearms. Step the feet back into a forearm plank. Little bit of core work here. Give the glutes a bit of a squeeze, kick back through the heels as you press down through the forearms. Take another 3 breaths here, making sure that the bum's not hiking up. So point your tailbone towards your heels and then exhale, slowly lower down the hips. Untuck the toes, arrive in your Sphinx. If you need to take a different position of the elbows, please do. Pressing down through the tops of the feet and pressing down through the front of the pelvis. Try to drag the elbows back. Don't very little gentle movements of the head from side to side. So as I may have mentioned in previous classes, some of the most I can't talk today. Some of the most superficial fibres of the vagus nerve are around the neck. Keeping that half smile, breathing down into the bottom of the lungs. Slow, rhythmic breaths. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, elbows come out to the side. Create a little pillow for your forehead. And then rock the hips from side to side. Good. Another couple of breaths here. Alrighty, slide the hands underneath the shoulders, press back up to your tabletop, and then tucking the toes, rise up, downward facing dog. If you want to take any movement, any undulating through the spine, or pedaling out through the feet, giving the hips a little bit of a wriggle, a salsa dog. Little dance the feet from side to side. Whatever feels good. Take one more breath here. Okay. From that inhale, sweep the right leg towards the ceiling. Exhale to step the foot forward. Option to bring the back knee down. Inhale, the arms lift. Take the bind, interlace the fingers, but release the pointer fingers. So you're taking that Charlie's Angels mudra, or hand gesture. Position for the hands. And then from there, stirring the teacup as we take it around. Making sure that it's not too intense for the back or through the front of this left hip as we circle. I'll take one more breath here. And as you exhale, release the hands down to the mat. Step it back to your plank. Good. Bring it down to the forearms. A little bit of core here. Press back through the heels. Press down through the forearms. Give the glutes a little squeeze. And then as you exhale, lower down through the hips, keeping the glutes squeezed. Good. Release the toes, maybe adjusting the position of the elbows. Try to drag the arms back, lifting through the heart space. Breathe into the front of the body, get that stretch through the front of the torso. Lovely. From there, slowly release the elbows out to the sides. Slide the hands back underneath the shoulders. Exhale, press back into your tabletop and then lift up, downward facing dog. Same thing to the left. Inhale, sweep the left leg high. Exhale to step the left foot forward. Option to bring the back knee down. Sweep the arms overhead, interlace the fingers, release the pointer fingers, Charlie's Angels mudra, and then start to circle around. You want to circle around enough that you feel some movement in the spine, but not so much that you're starting to feel a bit seasick. Take another couple of breaths here, keeping that gentle upturn. Remember that social engagement aspect. So we engage the muscles of the face. Good. From there, exhale, release the bind. Step it back into your plank. Bring the elbows down onto the mat. Pause in your elbow plank, in your forearm plank. Give the glutes a little squeeze and then slowly release the hips down. Untuck the toes. Try to draw the elbows back, lift through the heart space, press down through the tops of the feet so the legs are active. Exhale to release yourself down. Good. Slide the hands back. Press back to downward dog through your tabletop. Good. We'll do that one more each side. Sweep the right leg high. Step the right foot forward. Maybe you keep the back knee off this time. Different variation with the arms. Bring the elbows into cactus. And just as we did in seated, I'm going to undulate the spine here. So bring the hands back, lifting through the heart space, lifting through the chin. And exhale, rounding through the spine, drawing arms down, chin towards the chest. Get that stretch through the back of the body. Taking another 3 here. It's important that you're not pushing yourself too hard. You don't want to overstress the system. Inhale, the arms lift all the way up. Exhale to plant the hands, step it back into your plank. Bring the elbows down. Just being mindful of which elbow comes down first so that you pick the other side when we do the left side. Kick back through the heels. Try to drag the elbows back so you're feeling that strength through the side body. And then slowly lower the hips. Untucking the toes. Still drawing the elbows back, heart lifts. And then release yourselves down. Slide the hands underneath the shoulders. Press it back to downward dog through your tabletop. Same to the left. Inhale, float that left leg up. Exhale to step the foot forward. Again, option 2, bring the back knee down or keep it lifted. Inhale, rise to your lunge. Bending the elbows, cactusing them. Oops, a little bit too close to the wall. Good. So as you inhale, lift through the heart space, extend through the spine. Find that kind of telescoping action, hands draw back. Exhale, round through the spine. Massaging the internal organs. Stretching and releasing the vagus nerve, that long wandering nerve that comes down from the brain, serves the face, the neck, a lot of our important vital organs. On the next inhale, the arms lift up. Exhale, take it to your plank. Remembering to bring the other elbow down this time into your forearm plank. Take a pause here, active legs, and then lower yourselves down. One breath here. Inhale, breathing through the front of the body. Exhale to lower yourselves down. Slide the hands back underneath the shoulders and then press back, downward facing dog through your tabletop. Good, we'll take 2 more breaths here. When you're ready, inhale, looking forward, rise into the balls of the feet. Exhale to step or float your way to the top of the mat. Inhale to lengthen through the spine. Find that opening through the front of the torso. Exhale, folding, rounding, softening. Inhale, we'll rise to stand, raising the arms overhead. Exhale, floating the prayer down to the heart space. Good. From there, take a nice big step back with your whatever foot. I'm going to step back with my right, so I'm facing you guys, you folks. Okay, so this is a strong stance. This is a strong, powerful stance. Trying to draw the feet away, get the outer line of the hips and the legs working, so you're lifting through the inner arches. From there, reach the arms out to the side and up, so in your star pose, you're taking up as much space as possible. So this space, we inhabit this space. We are deserving of this space. This space is ours. This space is yours. Take one more breath here, really breathing out into the periphery, out into the fingertips, out into the toes, up into the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, wrap the arms over. So right arm comes over left, taking the hands to the opposite shoulder. So essentially you're giving yourself a nice big hug. And then from there, take a little shimmy of the body from side to side. Gently pressing the elbows into one another. And notice how this feels. So you might have felt a particular way when your arms are out here. Perhaps you felt vulnerable. Maybe you felt like, yeah, I feel really strong. This is my space. You might have felt the complete opposite. That's okay. Noticing what you feel when you feel it. And then noticing how it feels to be a little bit more closed, a bit more protected. We'll take it back into that strong, wide, taking up space pose. Inhale to reach the arms apart and up into your star pose. Lifting through the heart space. Strong through the legs. Keep these outer hips active. So you're still trying to slide the feet apart. Breathing into the space. One more breath here. And then exhale, wrap the arms in the other direction. So left arm comes over, right? Take the hands to the opposite shoulder. And then again, a little shimmy from side to side. How does it feel? Couple more breaths here. Just kind of testing out here what feels good, what feels safe, what feels a bit scary. Do that one more time each side. So inhale, opening out. So what this reminds me of, a little funny story from what happened, I think it was last night or the night before. We've got a mouse in this house and we call her Michelle. We've called her Michelle just cause. And I've not seen her in a couple of months. And last night or the night before I saw her. Keep lifting through the heart space, breathing into the fingers. and she appeared out from behind the fridge. She scuttled out. I saw her, and her little feet were scuttling on the wooden floor. And as soon as she saw me, she ran back behind the fridge. So she ran back to safety. That was her bold move, like, okay, I'm going to come out of the fridge. I'm going to, not out of the fridge, I'm going to come out from behind the fridge. No, not safe. I'm going to go back. So this is essentially what we're doing. So creating a little bit of opening and then safety. So as you exhale, bring the arms around one another, right over left, hands to the shoulders. A little shimmying of the body from side to side. So in that moment she thought, no, this is not my time. This is not my time to have an adventure out for any crumbs left on the floor, which there weren't. And then maybe a couple of minutes later, she popped her head from around the fridge and looked at me. She looked at me for a good 30 seconds and then popped back behind the fridge. And then maybe a few minutes later she scuttled from behind the fridge to the other side of the room. So she was checking in on herself. What feels safe? What feels safe for my nervous system? This is not the time to go. Red light, get back. And then she chose her moment. So we need to choose our moments too. So checking in with what feels safe, what doesn't feel quite as safe. We'll do that one more time. So inhale, reach the arms apart. Noticing our body in different states. Noticing what our faces do, what our bodies do, what's the initial reaction, how does it make us feel? Do we want to curl in? Do we want to freeze? Do we want to run? Take 2 more breaths here. This all informs what state we're in that calm, kind of blissed out samadhi state, which is what we talk about a lot in yoga, samadhi, that blissed out, peaceful state. Or are we in that mouse on the run state, our stress state? Or are we in the free state? Is it safe to go? I don't know. Okay, let's do the other side. Left arm goes over the right, hands to the opposite shoulder, little shimmy of the body from side to side. And this strong stance, especially if you're in a stress state, getting these big meaty muscles active and working is really important to use some of the adrenaline and the cortisol, the stress hormones that course through the body. So using them up. Take one more breath here. Good. From there, release, take the hands onto the hips. Heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, the feet together. Little shimmy of the hips from side to side. Oh, I don't know about you, but mine are feeling quite firm. Good. So let's take it back to the top of our mat, stepping. Taking a vinyasa, inhale, sweep the arms high, lift through the heart space, lift the gaze. Exhale, forward folding. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, opening through the front of the body. Exhale, plant the hands, step it into your plank. Good. Pause here. Bring it down to your forearms. Once again, pause here, strong through the legs. Exhale to release the hips down. Untuck the toes. Heart reaches forward, spread across the collarbones. Exhale to bring it down. Slide the hands back. Inhale. Exhale, bring it back. Downward facing dog. Lovely. From there, inhale to look forward, lift onto the balls of the feet, sorry, not round the spine. Exhale to step or float through to seated. Good. So for that standing, we were there for quite some time, so let's stretch out these muscles here. rolling onto your back, taking 4 pose. So placing the right ankle on the left thigh. Now some of you may already be feeling this quite intensely through the outside of the thigh and the buttock. If so, stay as you are. You don't need to go any further. If, however, you're not really feeling very much, remember this is not a competition. You're not competing with your body, and you're definitely not competing with mine. Drawing the knees in, taking hold of the shin or around the back of the thigh. So we're targeting around this area, but some of you may be feeling it a little bit through the back of the thigh, maybe a little bit through the inside of the thigh, of this leg, the knee that's going out to the side. Maybe a very gentle rock from side to side, if that feels good. One more breath here. And releasing that left foot down. Taking the arms into cactus if you have very little room like me, or reach the arms all the way out, whatever you have space for. If you have the space to do so, take up that room, folks, take up that room. And then drawing the knees over towards the left, little lazy twist. Just allow the right knee to do whatever, so if it's kind of flopping out, allow it to flop out. If it's flopping in, allow it to flop in. Maybe you're staying here with your arms, but they are extended or in cactus. What I like to do, especially in these twists, is a little bit of abdominal massage. So just very lightly with my left hand, massaging the belly in a clockwise direction. So as I mentioned before, the vagus nerve is involved with digestion. So with peristalsis and the movement of food through the intestines. So this is just giving it a little bit of a nudge. And a little bit of self-love and self-care as well. So you're just reminding your body that you care about it. Take one more breath here. Good, and then release. Bring the knees back up through centre. And take the right foot back down again. Same thing to the left. So left ankle on the right thigh. Either staying here, or if you want a little bit more target area through the left buttock, left hip, drawing the knees in. And again, as I said, you might be feeling it through the inside of that left thigh, possibly a little bit through the back as well, back of the thigh. If it feels good to gently rock from side to side, please do. Just making sure that you're not rubbing or rocking into pain, or pressing or pushing. Because when we start doing that, that triggers a stress response. What we're doing here is trying to bring that down, bring it into that ventral vagal state. The dorsal vagal state is the freeze. you have a hold of that right leg, slowly let go, take it down. Arms to T or in cactus. And take your lazy twist legs towards the right. Again, just allow that left knee to do whatever it wants to do. And again, option to use your right hand to gently rub the tummy. So it's not it's not firm, so you're not trying to press your internal organs, just very, very gentle rub. Keeping that slight upturn of the corners of the mouth, a half smile. Slow, deep breaths. A couple more breaths here. Good, and then start to make your way back through to center. Releasing the left foot down. And from there we're going to stretch out the whole front of the body. So you might be doing this with the help of some bricks, your cushions, your bolster, whatever it may be. And we'll be here for about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. So wherever you need to place the cushions, bolster, bricks, to get that bit of opening through the front of the hips, the belly, and through the chest. So if you also want it into the upper chest and the arms, perhaps reaching the arms over the head, that might also increase the stretch through here. Just relaxing the arms or bringing them into a little bound elbow kind of thing. So release the arms behind the head. If you find that your elbows are kind of floating, it feels not very nice on the shoulders, make sure that you're supporting the elbows of the arms with something. So that might be a blanket, another cushion, or rolling up your mat, just for an extra bit of support. And if this doesn't feel good to have the arms overhead, maybe you're taking the arms across the body, so you're still getting that stretch through the front of the body. But it feels better for the nervous system to have the arms across, just for a kind of, this can feel quite vulnerable here. Sometimes I like to take it like this, especially if I want to stretch the front of the body, but I'm feeling in quite an emotional state and feeling very vulnerable. So I still get the benefits, just with the added protection from my own body. Another few seconds here. When you're ready, slowly starting to make your way out. Releasing into Shavasana. Now before you get there, if there are any other movements that you want to do, maybe curling in, giving yourself a big hug, a little rock from side to massage out the back, feel free to do so. And then make yourself as comfortable as possible. So I like to take what is called constructive rests, placing something under the backs of the knees, the thighs, giving the back a little bit of a rest. Maybe you're placing something under the back of the head. Perhaps you're rolling yourself up into a little baby burrito with your blanket. Put on any socks, a jumper. I know it's still kind of summer, but it's starting to get a little bit cold now, so make sure you feel cozy rather than the body temperature can drop during Shavasana. Still poses or poses of relative stillness. We can never ever be completely still. Otherwise, that would mean that's the end of physical life. But bring yourself into a place where you feel comfortable. Now check in on your body and check in on your nervous system, how it feels in the body. Check in how it feels if you were to remain still. There may be some days when this feels really nourishing and serves the body. And there may be other days when it feels like a really icky thing to do. So to close the practice, we'll finish with a body scan. And for those of you who feel the need to move a little bit rather than stay still, then take a moving body scan, which means the point of awareness, so where we place our awareness, we'll bring gentle movement there. So placing your awareness now in the toes and the feet. The ankles. The legs. Placing your awareness at the pelvis. The spine. The shoulder blades. The shoulders. The arms. Wrists. Fingers and hands. Moving your awareness up into the neck. And finally the face. Noticing how it feels to be in this body, in this space, in this time. feel ready to, and you may not be ready for another few moments. Starting to invite a slightly longer, bigger breath in if that feels good. Maybe a big sighing, releasing breath out. Take two more like that if that felt good. Breathing in. Letting it go. Final one. Start to invite bigger movements back into the body, maybe a big stretch and a yawn. I don't know about you, but I feel like yawning loads today. And when you feel ready to, gently pressing up to sit close. So as we close, I'd like to thank you for joining me for this practice this afternoon. And all these practices are for you to put into your toolbox of bringing it down, bring it into the ventral vagal state, into your calm response. Just remembering to take note that whatever responses that your body and your nervous system have developed so far, celebrate them. Remember to celebrate them. There are reasons why the brain and the body and the nervous system do what they do. So celebrate that intuition of the body and the nervous system. They're incredible, very intricate, and essentially they're there to help protect us. Even if they're adaptive responses, they've been adapted for a reason. So just a couple more things before we close. So some of the things that we've done today, such as the slow breathing, the little bit of self-touch rubbing through the stomach, the opening through here around the neck, the half smile, all of these are for your toolbox to help increase vagal tone. And noticing the heart rate, how it varies, that heart rate variability between the increase of the heart rate when you breathe in and the decrease of the heart rate when you breathe out. So all of these are really helpful to increasing vagal tone. But one or two other things that you can use, which we didn't use today. Chanting. Chanting is very good. Remembering that the vagus nerve serves the muscles of the face and the neck. All of that is connected. It's also in the inner ear too, the middle ear. So getting your voice activated, and also getting your voice activated in lots of different ways. So remember, if you've ever been in a state of depression and you felt your voice is very, very flat and it's very monotone and it sounds like this and there's no prosody. Prosody is what creates this, the up and down of the voice. So creating that, the singing's really good for you. It's really, really good. There are lots of other benefits which I will mention at a different time. But chanting, singing is one of them. Slow breathing we did today. Spinal movements we did today as well. Inversions, so getting your head below your heart is really good for vagal tone and for getting us into a ventral vagal state. But also Nauli Kriya, so that's kind of pumping of the muscles around here. I don't think we'll do that in these classes, but if you do that, that's in your practice, fantastic. Keep on doing that. As well as Yoga Nidra. I know that I think Liz will be doing Yoga Nidra classes. They're superb, they're really amazing classes. If you can get to one and you like the practice, I would urge you to do so. And last but not least, metta meditation, which is a Buddhist meditation, loving kindness. So it starts with giving loving kindness to the self, and then that ripples out to people that we love and that we care about, so within our inner circle, and then to people outside of that circle, and then essentially to people around the whole world, and then it ripples back to us. So it starts with us, ripples out, and then ripples back. So I hope those are useful for your toolbox. If there are any questions that you have, please place them in the comments below. I'd really love to hear from you. And if you have any questions, you can't think of anything right now, but you want to get in touch anyway, you can get in touch via my Instagram handle, which is piano_yogini. piano_yogini. Okay, thanks all. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon, and I'm really looking forward to sharing some more practices with you next.